Now you're probably thinking, why don't you just move, mate? And 5 a.m, January 3rd, 2016, that's what I was asking myself as well. I'd set myself this 3-day challenge to go around Phuket. I paddled first, I got off, and I ran. And at that time, I wasn't really a runner. I'd only ran maybe 20 kilometres consecutively. And here I was, after paddling for a full day, getting off, no rest, and about to run 130 kilometres around Phuket, over all the hills. I set myself the challenge that I thought would be hard for me to do, or I wouldn't make it. And come 5 a.m, that was me. Standing there, my whole body had completely shut down. My mind was still positive, saying, go, just go. It's not far, just keep on going. But my body just wouldn't move at all. For 20 minutes I stood there and physios were spraying the back of my legs, I'm having all these gels, my eyes are popping out of my head, but the body just wouldn't move. Now for me, I wasn't disappointed at all. I was actually positive about the whole thing, and I'll explain why soon. I had a challenge, and there was two other guys with me. There's 3 of us going around this island. They will start together, finish together. So I'd left that morning and couldn't walk. Later on, had something to eat, had a little sleep, had something to eat, and I was able to move about this fast. So I asked one of the guys, can you take me back to where I stopped? I've got to finish this. And the amount of pain that I was in, I had these crappy old flip-flops on. There was just no time of thinking. I was just like, I'm moving. All right, I've got this, let's go. It's a 3-day challenge. I'm still in day 3. I've got to finish this. For me, it would have been tougher on myself knowing that I was still moving, but not finishing it. So I went back to that spot, popped all my blisters, shuffled along about this fast, and finished the 6 kilometres. And we walked out to the pier together. Now for me, it wasn't just about doing a challenge, a 3-day challenge around the island. I was there to test myself, so as mentioned before. So I did an 800 kilometre paddle from Gold Coast down to Bondi of 17 days. For me, what drove me to do that in the first place was I went through child abuse and suffered PTSD for 34 years of my life. And I tried everything to try and get past it. I'd had relationships, I'd traveled the world, I'd done sporting things, I'd had businesses, but nothing was working. I'd seen therapists. Therapists had told me that you're going to live with this for the rest of your life, and all you can learn to do is manage it, and that's it. Well, I'm pretty sort of stubborn, and I didn't really want to take that just laying down. A couple of times I had taken it, but this time something had changed. And I thought to myself, I'm going to break myself all the way back down to my bare foundations and rebuild myself from the ground up the way I know I should be built, with no influence from anyone else, but taking all the tools I've learned along the way and the influences from everyone who's told me to train this way, eat this way, sleep this way, all those sorts of things, plus taking my own little bits and pieces, dissected it all out, and going, right, this is how I'm going to rebuild myself. So I went back to the ocean and I started paddleboarding. It was a new sport for me. I'd surfed most of my life, but not paddleboarded. First day I paddled out about 2 kilometres and I was in so much pain with this new sport. I was on my knees, hands and knees, just paddling along with my arms. I got about 2k out to sea. I felt very vulnerable. You know, I'd never been out that far by myself in the ocean, just sitting there. I knew something special was going to happen. So I went home and thought, first day paddleboarding, I might as well look up world records of paddleboarding. Gosh, what else are you going to do when you're doing your sport? But I needed a purpose, not just to go paddle, not just to train. I needed a purpose for what I was doing, and something that held me accountable every single day of why I would get up to keep moving forward to this task. So I trained for 8 months, all sorts of training along the way, and 8 months later, January 3rd, 2015, I walked down to my local beach in Rainbow Bay with my board, I would walk down nearly every day to go for a paddle, except this time I was paddling 800 kilometres. I was by myself, unsupported, no land support, no boat support, just myself and this 18-foot board by 20 inches wide and my hands and the food and water I could carry on it, and that was it. Consecutively to then, during training, I'd only paddled maybe 40 kilometres, 45 kilometres worked out to, and on my first day it was 68 kilometres to my first destination. So I didn't even know if I was going to make the first destination. And of course, like whenever I start any challenge, there's always a little test or a challenge straight away. So I start paddling out and this big storm comes and I'm like, righto, here we go. I made my first destination. I thought, all right, that was super tough. About 16 days to go off that. But all right, we're getting there. So for me, I was already moving along. Second day was pretty tough on me. I got pitched, I'd lost all my supplies. I didn't make my next destination, so I had to sleep on the beach. So I dug a hole in the sand, slept on the beach, put the board over top because it was raining. It's kind of like in a little coffin on the beach. Got up the next day. Because I'd lost all my food and water, I hadn't eaten for about 24 hours. And I had to paddle 17 kilometres to my destination, refuel, have something to eat, paddle out. Day 3, I got hit by a wave, board wrapped up on top of me, and I was stuck underwater, dragging underwater for about 400 metres. Come to underwater, so I'd gone unconscious. Paddled back out, got hit by another one, same thing, dragged underneath, unconscious, somehow came to, and paddled back out again. Just got out the back, and my board gets hit. And I'm like, what's going on here? The big fin comes up around me. And I'm already buggered because I've been underwater for a little bit. So I'm like, really? Now? Come on, man. So I was thinking, what am I going to do? And I'm at a beach where it's totally deserted. I hadn't seen anyone all day. There's no car tracks, there's no roads, there's no nothing to get there. I couldn't really go in because it was like all reefs and everything in there. So I'm like, right. All I had to do was look forward to the headland ahead and just aim for that. So I had this thing, I'd wait till the shark came around until I could see him up ahead, and I'd just go as fast as I could towards the he, she, fin. I'd drop down and I'd sit there. I was still again. See him coming, come up again. Oh, this, and I'd sit there. I waited for a little while. Then I saw a fin up like a long way, probably 100 metres. I'm like, is that the same one? And in my head, I'm like, you got no idea, but just go for it. And every time I put my hands in the water, I was waiting for him to get eaten. Go, no, every time until it just sort of went away and I kept on going. There was a couple more shark incidents along the way, but they kind of got a little bit easier after that one. That was a bit intense. There was 21 shark encounters all up. The biggest one I saw was about 22 foot long and about 10 foot wide. It's kind of like a bus driving along the sand. By that time though, I was kind of like, just eat me. I've had enough. What could I do anyway? I just put out a jump in its mouth. But something happened to me on day 5. So the whole time I knew it was high possibility that I wouldn't make it alive. Paddling over shark breeding ground, dehydrated, loss of food, all that sort of stuff. Many factors against me. And I was alone, no EPIRB. No one really knew where I was. At day 5, it kind of all changed. I got up and it was like I hadn't paddled. It was just like a fresh day. I came out of a place called Coffs Harbour and I just started paddling and I felt amazing. It's an overcast day, it's calm water, it's beautiful, perfect day. I was paddling for about 15 minutes and white pointer, about 15 foot white pointer comes past me and I just literally said, "G'day mate," and just kept on paddling. I was still going in the same direction, and still the same purpose to reach Bondi, but everything had shifted and twisted around. I was now living for what I believed in. And all the little demons that had been hanging on my shoulders for the last 34 years had gone. I didn't know where they'd gone though. I'd had them sneak off and sneak back plenty of times, but for some reason they were gone. And I kept paddling and had more encounters. Different things happened along the way, but after the 17 days, I reached my destination of Bondi. And when I pulled into Bondi, it was Sunday, sun's out, it's about 40, 50,000 people on the beach. It's like crazy in summer. And I sat there and people were jumping off rocks and that, and I'm like, you got no idea how I've just got here. You probably just walked across the road, driven your aircon car, and you're at the beach. But at the same time, I was like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you got here, and it doesn't matter how I got here. It's that we all want to be here today at the same time, and we're all here. And this is where we wanted to be, and this was our purpose for the day. And I'd made that. But for me as well, it wasn't so much what I'd been through to get to there. It was that I'd done it myself. There was no one at the back of the board. There was no ribbon. There was no trophy at the end. There was no one to be held accountable for. There's no one telling me you got to keep on going. Could have stopped at any time and everyone would have just gone, yeah, cool, you did a great job. But I didn't. I kept on going. There was something inside me that knew I had to keep going. And for me as well, like reading the Facebook posts and listening what other people were getting out of it was also my drive. So each day when I was feeling a bit down, I'd think about all the messages and people who had been in my situation as well through life, how they were looking on to see what I was going to do. So that was a driving force for me. It's pretty confusing once I got there though. I was like, well, these things are gone, but where are they gone? What's happened, So it took me about a month of sort of just sitting there and just trying to work out, where's my place in the world now? And after about a month, I worked out it's not where's my place and how do these people fit in my life. It's where I am in this world of my life and how I'm going to service these people, with now what I know. I couldn't go back to how I was before the paddle. There's so much negativity going on around and I just couldn't go back to that. My first thoughts were just keep paddling off somewhere. But I knew I had something special happen to me, but I just didn't know what. And no one could explain it because I didn't know anyone had ever done anything like that before. So I needed to test it myself to see if it was real and to see if these demons had gone. So that's what took me to Phuket to do this challenge. I knew I needed to test myself to absolute breaking point to know if something negative was going to come up. It was definitely going to come up when I was in the most physical, mental and emotional pain I could purposely put myself in to see if something come up. And nothing came up. So that's when I stopped, and even though I was short 6 kilometres, I was happy because I wasn't negative about it. Then I need to test out more and find out what actually happened. All right, something did happen. I've just tested that out. That's cool. All right. So then that's how the skate happened as well. So June 27 that year, I decided to ride a skateboard from Chicago to Santa Monica along Route 66. And the main purpose of it was to give myself 56 days of doing something simple from going from point A to point B. It wasn't really that simple, but in my head it seemed simple. Point A to point B, 56 days to work out what actually happened on that paddle. And how can I break this down to share with other people? And what have I done during my life intuitively that I've been able to keep on moving forward? So many people over the years have said, how are you able to keep going? It's not just how are you able to keep going in the challenges, but in the life challenges as well. I guess for me, I've always been an endurance athlete. This is what I was destined to do and the purpose of why as well. As a kid, I had my own challenges I needed to go through, my own endurance things. Like I slept out in the streets when I was 6 years old and rock caves and everything for nights on end. So that was the start of me being an endurance athlete, I guess. And I skated from the age of 6 as well, and I'd be out and I'd just skate all day just so I didn't have to go home. And again, that built into me being an endurance athlete. So me skating Route 66 was destined to always happen. But as well for me, it was a way to target not just endurance athletes, not just paddlers and not just runners, but the youth as well. So that was my main goal along there, to be able to show people and the youth, connect with them and show what's possible in life, to be able to keep moving forward. And I always have this motto of keep moving forward. And I show people that that's what you do. From there, I went on to do a couple of other crazy things like pushing cars and doing stuff, and as I do. But I always test myself and always challenge myself and always push the limits going forward. I mean, I'll set the bar pretty high with that first paddle. So it's not like I'm chasing something better than it, but I'm always testing and always pushing myself to find out what else is there and exploring more about myself. For me, it's about learning. It's about knowing what you've learned and then exploring more on the outside. Once you know, then you explore. There's a lot of people, I'm sure we know a lot, who they might have done an online course or they might watch a YouTube clip and all of a sudden they're an expert. But for me, I need to know. So I need to learn it, know it, and then once you know it for myself, I've got that solid foundation of knowing what it is that I'm purpose-driven towards, then I like to explore it even more. How far can I push this? How wide can I open my eyes to this? How much more information can I bring in? And then break that down to share with other people. And like was mentioned, I created and wrote a book called The One Breath Meditation. And it's dissected pieces out of everything I've learned along the way, intuitively, but also from therapists like EMDR therapy and mantra ohms, normal meditation, and also walking forward, keeping on moving forward as well. So it's a combination of all those things put together in 5 steps that I now share with other people. And again, it's just broken down to simple form. We all know how to breathe. Some of us do. Some forget how to breathe as well. But breathing's our life source. You know, we have that first breath of life when we're babies, and then it's just subconscious that we just breathe. We get taught how to breathe wrong sometimes, but that's our connection. If nothing else, we've got our breath. So for me, if I'm struggling during an event or during something in life, I connect back with my breath, give myself that moment back to myself, breathe out, and keep on moving forward. It just gives me somewhere to come back to, rather than just flicking around everywhere and come halfway back and, oh yeah, that'll do, I'm off, and I'm off here. Come back, center myself, and then go again. And it's something I can do while on the go as well. As mentioned as well, so recently I went across America on a motorcycle, which was cool because it's the first time I'd ever done that, ridden a motorcycle that far, and it's like a big Harley thing, and you know, and it was funny because I'm riding across America in this black Harley, looking the way I do, and people are like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going across teaching men how to meditate. You what? It's kind of the last thing that people would think come out of my mouth. But what it did along the way is almost gave them permission to start exploring it themselves. To go, hey, if he's doing it, maybe there's something in it for me as well. And for me, that's what my challenges are about. Keeping on pushing forward and hitting that new audience to get that message out a little bit wider and a little bit wider every time. So I started in the ocean, then I did the running, it's accessible, then onto the skateboard and onto a motorcycle as well. And I thought there's nothing much more blokey than riding a motorcycle down Route 66. But along the way as well, you know, I got to connect with so many different people. And it wasn't just about me sharing my story or listening to them. It was more about feeling them and feeling the areas they were from. You know, I went to tough cities like we spoke about earlier with like the Youth Detention Centre in Baltimore. You know, and these are tough kids growing up in a tough city. Went to the National Rifle Association talking about the gun laws, and we all know about what happens in the schools recently. I went to Sandy Hook Elementary School, which is the worst massacre it's been in. Spoke with people who are doing work with child abuse and also war veterans as well. But again, it was just about feeling how these people were able to keep on moving forward. How are they homeless but still smiling? How are they dying of HIV but still smiling? What is happening? What's their magic? So it gave me time to move along to each destination and just think about what I've heard and what I've felt from these people, to be able to start breaking it down myself. Find out what's common and what's our life source, and why is there trauma, and how do we get past it. I think, we go in life and we're all trying to find this happiness. We've got to be happy. And it's great to be happy and smile. But more so, it's peace of mind. You want to be at peace with yourself, peace with your past, to be able to move forward. We still carry a lot of shit day to day. We deal with things. I'm not like a happy guru every day floating around. I have good days and I have bad days. But the good days and bad days are from now. They're what I deal with now, and I keep moving forward. I don't bring them up from the past anymore. I deal with them and I keep going. I think it's important for everyone to be able to do that, to be able to center yourself and know that time keeps moving forward, and so do we. We have to keep moving forward. That's about as simple as life is, I think. We breathe, we connect, we move forward. We try and have purpose and we try and guide our way through life. There's a lot of things that are out of our control, which is good sometimes, Keeps testing us. Or it puts you back on the path you're supposed to be on. A lot of people fight against that path. I want to go this way, I've got to go this way. It's not till later on something happens and they go, maybe I should be doing this. So I've been lucky enough to have that paddle to show me the purpose of my path and where I head to now. So, and it's tough, For me, it's tough because I know this is what I do now. But I enjoy that, Every day's a new adventure, and I just sort of take it as it comes and keep on moving forward. Keep enjoying life, meeting amazing people like you guys, sharing stories and sharing smiles. So thank you for coming today, and thank you. Thanks for inviting me as well. Thanks, guys.